started off by asking you a question, Ryan. So at the beginning you said it was a whodunit, but it's not just a whodunit. It's a whodunit, then it's a howdunit, then it's a whydunit, and I've never seen a murder mystery that constantly rewrites itself as it's going along. What on earth possessed you to do something so phenomenally, different?
Well, that was, and first of all, guys, that was so much fun watching it with you guys. Thanks for being here for this. Yeah, that was kind of the initial thought of it. Was I love whodunits. I wanted to make a movie that had everything I love about whodunits into it. I also kind of do fundamentally agree with what Hitchcock thought about the genre, which is the danger of it is that it's one big lead up to just one surprise at the end. And so the idea was, how can I have everything I love about a whodunit and put an engine in the middle of it that is more of a Hitchcock thriller? And then the idea I had was, well, and then because I still want the scene at the end where the detective explains everything. That's like one of my favorite kinds of scenes in the world. So can I hide a whodunit under this Columbo-like Hitchcock thriller? So you're watching a whodunit, and then you say, oh, okay, it's turned into a Hitchcock thing, and then at the end you realize the Hitchcock thing was a misdirection. If you go back and add it all up, it was a whodunit all along. So that was kind of the put in the driest, most boring terms possible. That was the idea behind it.
It works incredibly well. Ram, you've been working with Ryan for a very long while. Can you talk a little bit about the process? Does he just come to you with a project and you go, yep, I'll do it, or?
Pretty much. Absolutely. He has the idea. My job is just to help him communicate whatever he has in his head and make sure, help execute it in the best way possible. With Ryan, it's the easiest thing in the world because he pretty much has it in his head right away.
And has the process evolved as, you guys started doing independent films like Brick, and then you went into a mega blockbuster like The Last Jedi? Has the process always remained the same, or has it evolved as you guys and the films have evolved?
It's pretty much the same. Really, it's honestly been the same. I think we just have more experience, but the process is really, whether it's Brick or Last Jedi or Knives Out, it's the same thing.
That's amazing. And Noah, I know you're in almost all of Ryan's films.
I think I'm in all of
them. Yeah, I didn't want to. Yeah,
I think I'm in all. Is there one I don't know about?
There was one that we didn't tell you about. The big hit. Yeah. No,
good. So I didn't want to go. You're in all of his films, and you go, no, you're not. And then I look even worse. But does he just say, hey, we're making another film. You want to come on board? And you go, yep.
Pretty much. Yeah. It's very similar, I think, to Ram's experience, where. Yeah, there's an idea, and then there's a great script, and then there's what can we do to.
We're also he's one of my closest friends, so we hang out every day. So it would be really awkward if I made a movie and didn't put him in it at this point.
And can you talk about your character? Because I love your character in this, with the haircut and the dorky fanboy, and he's almost the heart of the film, and he keeps delivering these great lines. Did you guys think, oh, I'd be great for that, or was it something you read and you thought, this is what I want?
I think he wrote it knowing that it was finally time for me to stop being villains and creeps for him and maybe be like a goofy dad, because that's kind of what I am now.
I also wrote it thinking it was a background part. I'm like, oh, it'd be fun to have Noah around, we'll put him in the background. And I remember we were doing ADR with Daniel Craig, and he was looking at it, he looks at me and goes, Noah's in this quite a bit. Really bad Daniel Craig accent.
I would just edge into frame all the time. But it was really fun because when you're actually trying to do your job, you're sort of stuck in the mindset of what this one person is thinking. And in the case of this guy, he sort of gets to be the audience. He gets to watch the movie as it's happening when all these other people are having to deal with all this stress and drama and dead dad and where's my money and who's gonna go to jail, and I just kind of get to be like, this is really fun. Really? Tell me more.
Before I throw it to the audience, I gotta ask, there's a very sly social commentary in there that totally is not part of the genre, but you've somehow incorporated really beautifully. Did you set out wanting that to be a part of, or is this something that evolved organically as you were writing it or filming it?
Well, it was always in there. Part of the big thing for me was, Agatha Christie, what she was doing with her books was always the kind of the musty old tropes of the Agatha Christie, Clue characters that we think of today. When she was writing, those were very present types in society. It's not like she was a political writer or was any kind of, had any kind of really heavy social message in her books, but they always did engage with the culture that she was living in. And so that was always a big thing for me, is if we're going to do a murder mystery and put it in America in 2019, let's have it do what she did at the time. Let's have it actually engage with the culture. So let's actually create some character types that we're going to recognize from our own lives, and let's put some stuff in there that matters to where we're at right now.
And it works phenomenally well. Right, I'm going to throw it up. Whoa, those hands came up quick. All right, I'm going to start with the person in red, I can't tell, right there, and then we're going to go up there, and then we'll decide later.
Were there any Easter eggs to your other films that you've done in the past, like references like bricks or anything like that?
Can you repeat that? I didn't actually hear it.
Easter eggs. No Easter eggs.
Oh, were there any Easter eggs in this film that related to any of your other films?
Besides Noah, yeah, there is actually. If you keep sharp eyes open, I'm not going to tell you what they are, but there's a brick. No, you see it. It's pretty dumb. It's pretty obvious, but there's a pretty big brick reference in there somewhere. If you take a look, yeah.
There's one up there.
I have a question about your brilliant script.
I will take that question.
Can you talk about your process of writing it and figuring out what actually happened, and then figuring out how to reveal that information while making it a thrilling ride?
So the question is, can you talk about the process of writing the script and figuring out what happened, and then figuring out how to reveal what happened in a thrilling fashion, like done in the film?
Well, I mean, there's kind of two layers to it. Writing something like this, there's the plot layer where it's about the information that you're imparting, and that was, for me, that was just kind of fun. That's just kind of engineering. That's kind of just the math of what do you tell when and what do you reveal, and to me, that's kind of a fun game. The tricky part is trying to get some emotional resonance in there on top of that, and trying to make it fun. And also, with this many characters, I'd never really written an ensemble this big before, and that was one of the challenges, was trying to figure out how to give everybody their own unique thing and feel like you've gotten enough of each of them. So that for me, specifically with this, was sort of the big mountain to climb, I guess.
Who else? Right. We will go there, and then we'll go there. So.
Daniel Craig is amazing in this film. What inspired you to cast him in this part?
What inspired to cast Daniel Craig in this part? He's amazing in this film.
Well, Daniel Craig, being from Mississippi, he has I've always wanted to work with Daniel. He's an extraordinary actor, and I love him in Bond, but I mean, having seen him on the stage, in Logan Lucky, gave that bonkers performance. He's got so much range, and I've just kind of met him socially a couple times, and I knew he was funny also. That's kind of the secret thing with Daniel. He's kind of a goofball. He's kind of funny, and I also just got the sense that he was really hungry to have fun. And I think that's the big thing with this, is I wanted someone who would really chew on this role, and chew he did. So.
Yeah.
I did.
I'm sorry. Do you play Go, and did you set up that game between them?
I play Go badly. I love Go. Go is the one. My cinematographer, Steve Yudlin, he can always beat me at chess, and I can occasionally beat him at Go, and so I love playing it. And that game is, it is a real game. If you go through the moves, I swiped it. It's kind of a famous 9x9 game between two 9-dan masters that I got from a book. So.
There, and then we'll go to the front.
So how many Benoit Blanc movies and sequels do you plan on making?
So the question is, how many Benoit Blanc movies and sequels do you plan on making?
Let me ask you a question. How many people are you going to bring opening weekend to see this movie? No, seriously, man, we had so much fun making it. I had so much fun with Daniel. I've never thought about sequels to anything I've done, but to me, that wouldn't even be a sequel. That's just kind of making another mystery, a whole other cast of all-stars, another setting. that would be a blast. So knock on wood, we'll see what happens. But dude, I'd be into it.
I mean, not like a whole other cast.
Whole other cast, top to bottom, fresh, clear the decks. Be like breathing in fresh air in the morning. So good.
So when I ask that question next time, I can see most of Rian Johnson's films.
We get you in there as a voice.
Right there.
So, I mean, 2016 was like my worst 40th birthday because it was
Sorry.
November 8th. And so is there any significance that the events of the evening occur on November 8th?
Is there any significance that the events of the evening occur on November 8th?
No. Wow. Yeah, let's go. Yeah. No, not at all. All right, next question.
We'll go right in.
I'm sorry about your birthday. I'm so sorry about it. Hopefully in 2020 you'll have a better birthday.
So everything about this movie was amazing, but the set design in the house, and I'm sure there are a lot of things, inside jokes and Easter eggs just within the house. Can you talk about the process and like how you envisioned that before you created all of that?
So how did you envision the house and the set design before you created all of it? Because it's so amazing.
So we had a fantastic production designer, and David Crank, who has done a lot of work with Jack Fisk, and together they worked on PTA's movies. They worked with Malik. He's just an incredibly talented dude. And the big reference I gave him was one of my favorite films. It's kind of a whodunit. It's the 1970s version of Sleuth. And the house in that movie is also a mystery writer's house, and it's filled with all these games and objects. The thing by the stair is Jolly Jack the Sailor. That swipes straight from Sleuth. So there's a few overt references to it. But mostly if the thing was just, okay, this is the inside of Harlan's brain, fill it up. And yeah, there's a lot of detail to look at in there. David Schlesinger, who did our set deck, who like scoured New England for all of this amazing stuff. And that wall of knives, that kind of like big circle of knives, I really wanted to get that for my house, but half the knives were rented and we had to give them back at the end of it. So.
Right there.
I have kind of a simple question that I feel like I haven't read any interviews or anything about the film, so I don't know if you've already addressed this, but I feel as though the main character is named after a character from a Choose Your Own Adventure novel.
So the question is, the name of the main character is named after a Choose Your Own Adventure character.
No, I think there is one that's called like Who Killed Harlow Fromby.
There is a Choose Your Own Adventure book. You win a car!
If I
And
can
that
just
was-
say that's Kayla Janice, who's like a fountain of movie knowledge.
That's fantastic. Good catch. I was a big Choose Your Own Adventure freak when I was a kid, and that's the whodunit in that series. So good catch.
Okay, that one there waving at me.
Thank you so much for making my favorite film of the festival. I'm curious to know, in assembling your cast, if you could talk about the casting process, and when writing the script, were you developing any of the characters with specific actors in mind?
So can you talk about the casting process, and when you were writing the script, were you writing any of the characters specifically for cast members you were thinking of?
Just Noah, literally. Actually, you were the only one. Other than that, no. I've kind of learned not to think of actors while writing, because you'll always get your heart broken because inevitably they won't be available or what have you. So no, I just kind of wrote the characters, and then I mean, really the way it worked is Daniel Craig was the first one on board. He was the reason the movie got made, and he only became available because the James Bond movie pushed a few months, and suddenly he had this window. But that window was in like 6 weeks.
We basically got Daniel early September of last year, and 7 weeks later we were filming.
So we had to put it together really quickly. In a way, I think that helped us, though, because we could go to all these amazing actors, and it wasn't like saying, yeah, we're putting this together, we're aiming for next year, what do you think? It was, no, do you want to show up in a month and do this for a few weeks and do a murder mystery? So I think that actually helped us get this absolutely incredible cast of actors.
I think we got time for one more. It's, someone's really enthusiastic over there.
As we all know, everyone in the theater, there's been some highly publicized news this week about murder mystery remakes, one in particular, that's a fan favorite of all time. We're talking about Clue. If you had any advice to a director, writer who would be adapting a murder mystery, what would you give them?
So if you had any advice to a writer-director adapting a murder mystery, what would you give them as advice?
Oh, I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm be qualified to. The thing is, I'm a murder mystery junkie. I will watch anything that comes down the pipe. I love The Last Murder on the Orient Express. I really loved watching that Sandler one. That was really fun. So I'm just a junkie for the genre. So I read about that Clue remake, and with Ryan Reynolds and Bateman. You kidding? I'll watch the shit out of that. That sounds like that'd be awesome. I don't have to give those guys any advice. Just make that, and I'll be there. So, yeah.
So, a huge round of applause for...
Thank you guys again.
Rian Johnson. Guys, leave out the back door. Theaters 4 and 5, please come out the back door. Make sure you vote and get on the buses to go to the closing night party.
See you guys.